What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Comment Writers. We are a Kamen Rider review podcast, and today on the show, we're going to talk about Kamen Rider Zeztz, episode number 13. I'm your host, Josh Meek, the Uber Geek, and I'm joined, as always, by my good friend, Toby Tobes. How's it going, Toby?
Josh, I am rapidly burning money out of my pockets at an alarming rate.
Why? What's going on?
So, the car dealership, whenever I take my car in, fuck Nissan, just for the record. Whenever I take the car in, they're like, "Oh, you need new brakes and rotors." And I have a handy car friend, so I told him, and I was like, "Is this something you can do?" And he said, "Sure." So I asked Nissan how much it was, and they were like $1,500 for the car. Now, $1,500 is a lot for anybody.
Yep.
So my friend was like, "Well, if you buy the parts," he priced it out. It came out to like $650. So I was like, "This is a fantastic deal. I know you can do it." He says, "I know I can do it. We're good to go." So he looks into it right before I bought the parts, and he was like, "Hey, does your car have one of those dumb electric parking brakes?" And it does. Where basically, like, when I stop the car, it just like automatically pulls the e-brake.
Oh, yeah.
And, like,
Yeah.
And so it sits nicely. So like I don't have a cool like Fast and the Furious drift handle in my car. I have this little like dumb switch that just sits there, and I would never find it in an emergency.
Yep.
So we're going through, and he's like, he looked online because he's a supercar guy. And he said, "Just so you know, you need an actual like diagnostic tool to turn the electric parking brake off before we start yanking on the car, or else we're not going to be able to do this." And I said, "Define not be able to do this." And he said, "Well, you can probably like manually force retract it, but I don't want to fuck up your car." So I say, "Sure, no big deal." I look into scanners. I bought the parts. We'll call it $700. And the dealership said it was $1,500 to fix all this. So $700 worth of parts. My friend's labor is free, just a case of beer and dinner. I look on Amazon for scanners. There's two that say they possibly work. One was $350 and one was $450. So these are returnable, but that's still another $800 I had to let Amazon loan out for me or hold for a little bit or whatever. So get them, no big deal. I take it over to his house. We plug the shit in. It starts going. It retracts the brake. I'm like, wow, this is actually sick. It worked. So far, so good. And we started this project at 12 o'clock on Sunday. By 4 o'clock, we couldn't get the electric parking brake to finish the cycle it needed to properly put the brakes like back on the car. So we're talking back and forth. He's like, "I don't know what you want me to do." I said, "If you can just push it back in." We talked about this. Like, it should be okay. We found videos. We've slowly pushed the brake back in, and it's almost close enough. So he's like, "Okay, this is fine." Again, it's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. 4 hours for one tire, but this was like the inaugural tire. So he slowly pushes back in, and he's like, "It's almost there." And I said, "Sure, just keep going. Like, I'm helping you. I understand. Like, we're forcing the car back together. No big deal." So he does like one more crank on pushing the brake back in and just sprays brake fluid everywhere.
Uh-oh.
So he goes, "Motherfucker." And he's like, "This is not good." And I was like, "It's okay. Like, you don't have to get mad. I knew shit was going to happen, blah, blah." And he's like, No. Like, this is actually bad. Like, we just broke the caliper. We have to go buy a new caliper."
Oh,
So
no.
I look at him. I say, "This is what we have to do. It's what we have to do." So we drive down to the auto parts store. And when I looked online, it said they had calipers for my car, which is the things that push the brakes in, if you don't know. It says it has them. We go down. I say, "Here's the part number." She goes, "We don't have these." I say, "Online it says you do. Can you double check?" So she says, "What's the part number?" She types it in, and she's like, "Oh, it doesn't specifically say it matches your car, but if you're telling me this is what's coming up, I will happily sell you the parts." I say, "Sure, I'll buy these now too." 2 discount AutoZone calipers were like $175 a piece because I bought one for both sides of the car. So I was like, if this shit's happening now, we might repeat this project. So another $300, that puts us like right around the $1,500 right now, I believe. At least like
Yep.
in like loaned money mixed with real money. Go back to his house. We go to put the caliper back on, and he's like, "I really don't think this lines up." So I look, he looks, we both look, and he's like, "This really isn't the right part. I don't know what to do now." And I said, "I don't know either. Like, you're supposed to be like none of this is his fault. This is me nudging and like him saying, gave me the warning. whatever. So he's getting more and more pissed off because he's been doing this shit for like 20 years and he's like beside himself that he fucked this up. And I'm like, no, like it's fine. Like, don't worry about it. No big deal. Because in my brain, I'm like, well, most of this shit is going back and I still have the parts. And he said, well, do you know someone that will put, like, we're trying to figure out, do I know a mechanic who will put parts on that the person bought? Because that's usually like a weird insurance thing where most places won't do the work because if they're not giving you the part, they can't certify the part, safety, insurance, whatever. So he goes, well, we can drive it to my friend's garage. You just go slow because you only have one working brake. And like, he's like, he can look at it on Tuesday. We'll figure it out from there. So today is Tuesday when we're recording. Guy calls me at lunch and he's like, yeah, blah, 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 told me everything that happened. He's like, nothing's actually broke, but you definitely need this caliper replaced. I say, sure, I understand that. Like, can you find one? And he goes, I looked everywhere. There's literally no like third party, secondary market, whatever they're called, aftermarket parts.
I've looked everywhere.
And he goes, so I have to buy one from the dealership or like Nissan directly. But he's like, there's really no other options if you want a new caliper on your car. So I'm like, I say, sure, like it has to be done. How much do you think how much is it? And in my head, I'm like, I just bought them for $150 a piece. Granted, they're aftermarket, whatever. I'm like, no big deal. Like whatever number he's about to tell me, probably not going to blow my mind. He goes, they're $900 a piece.
Oh my God.
Right. And I was like, I don't know what else. Like I have no other options other than like taking it to the dealership who's going to fuck me over even harder. So I'm like, if that's what you have to do, I guess that's what you have to do. And he's like, okay. He's like, if that's what you want, I'll do it. And I said, like, while it's there, can you change the other stuff? I was like, blah, blah, blah. Said you probably wouldn't. And he's like, no, I really can't. That's like kind of against my insurance. I really can't do that. So I'm like, okay, no big deal. We're talking about it. And as we're talking, he's like, oh, so-and-so is like so upset and beside himself that he fucked this up for you. And I was like, no, I know I was there. Like, he doesn't have to feel as bad as I think he does. It's no big deal. So the guy pauses and he says, you know what? I'll just put your back brakes on for you. No big deal. So in my mind, I'm like, okay. So he's like changing like the actual brake pads and stuff. And I still have to figure out a new mechanic to put 3 rotors plus 3 sets of brake pads on the car because like I can't do it myself. My friend doesn't want to fuck up the car again. Kind of going back and forth with that. So get off the phone, accept my defeat, which my project is now more than I would have paid at the dealership, plus broken parts, plus new labor now. But I'm like, okay, whatever. So I'm talking out with my one buddy, trying to find a mechanic. And I think to myself, well, while it's there, I might as well ask the guy, can you just buy me the actual parts you need to finish the back? Because that's where the shitty electronic brake is. So I call him back and I was like, hey, can you just buy whatever you have to and do the back brakes anyway? And he goes, no. He was like, that's what I told you I was going to do. And I said, I need you to clarify then, because you told me you're changing the brakes and I am stupid. And that just means like, I'm changing like the brake pads. And he goes, no. He's like, I know what happened. Everything sounds fucked up. I know you guys were trying to save money. He said, I'll do you a favor. Don't tell anybody, but I'll at least do the other back of your car for you. And then you two can just do the fronts yourself because there's no parking brakes on it. And I was like, that's fucking fantastic. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. But in summary, in me trying to save money by not taking my car to the overpriced dealership, I actually fucked myself, and I will be spending more money than it would have cost to have the pros do it.
Yeah, this is why, like, I will take a car to like a local dude, instead of like a dealership
Absolutely.
mechanic. But like taking a car to a buddy is like, this is the scary worst case scenario, right? Where not only now is your car going to cost more, but now you're like weirdly risking like a friend relationship on top of it, like because of whatever they feel bad, or like maybe your car is so fucked up to the point that like you need to do something. I don't know, like there's a lot of tension that can generate there. This is the same reason why like I would never like build someone else's computer for them because if I fuck up my CPU and I try to put it on, that's one thing, but if I fuck up someone else's, like no, I'm not gonna bother doing that.
This is why I don't do like major house repairs or things for anybody. And like we've talked about this before. but I want a business or human that I don't know to blame and yell at when shit goes bad.
Yeah.
I genuinely, I'm not mad at my friend. I'm not irritated with my friend. I feel bad that he feels bad, but like, I don't care. Like, I knew all the risks. In any other situation, I know he could do it. Like, he said he would still help me do the fronts anyway, because he knows what he's doing. But like, I would never do this in reverse, because if I would have broke the car for somebody else, like, I would have lost my shit. Like, on myself, of like, wow, you're a piece of garbage. You're supposed to know this. You fucked up. Now it's expensive. Way to go,
Yeah,
idiot.
it's awful both sides, right? Like, it's awful from your side because all this extra money and the brakes aren't working still, and then awful from the other side. Just like, yeah, I was trying to help somebody out and I've like ruined it. Great. I was supposed to be the expert. Yeah.
Yeah.
This feels like bad mojo that you're putting on me because we just dropped a car off that the mechanic is going to look at tomorrow. So I hope that it all goes smoothly for us.
I'm sure it'll go better than me playing mechanic in my friend's garage. Yes.
Speaking of which, I hate you were describing the like mechanic phone call that you always get. Like when you drop a car off and they call back with what's wrong. That's like one of the worst experiences that you can have like on the phone and like dealing with someone, because it's always just like, yeah, it's gonna be like crazy amount of money. Do we want to do that? And you're like, well, I can't. I have no option but yes, right? Like if I want this car to drive again, then we have to do this. Like, yes, please sign me up for $1,500 worth of repairs. Great, let's go for it. There's nothing more emasculating than the mechanic phone call.
It's like waiting for test results. It's like the doctor calls and you're like, what are they gonna say? And they always, like, mechanics, doctors, whatever, have a weird reverse bedside manner when these conversations come up, because I feel like they talk in a weird dread tone first, and then when they tell you the thing, even if it's good, it's already like in like the sad tone.
Yeah.
Like if it was like a blood test and you were thought like, oh, I have random illness, doesn't matter. Like, yeah, so we got your lab work back, and so we went over the results and we double checked everything, and I just wanted you to know that we checked everything and we did find that there's nothing wrong with you. And it's like, why the fuck did you say it so mellow and so soft and like dreadful, and not just like
the car version? The car version of that is like, all right, well, we finally dug into the Jeep, and it took a while to get in there, and what we figured out finally was that yeah, it's gonna be about $10. That's the same thing. Yeah, they always start that way.
Yeah, and it's only like certain words too, where it's, yeah, we looked at it for a while, or we dug around, or
yeah.
no, we were stumped at first of what was going on. So I had like one of my best guys come over separate, and we looked into this. And yeah, like the tire was just popped, so we plugged it for you. You just come get your car. It was actually free because there's nothing wrong with it.
There is something specific with the mechanic that they really want you to know how hard they worked for it. Like I dropped a car off at a mechanic, actually the one who's seeing the car tomorrow, and I can't remember exactly what it was getting done, but basically it was like, he tells me what needs to happen and he quotes me a price. And then I go pick the car up again when it's done, and he comes out specifically, like the dude who owns the place comes out and he talks to me, and he's like, yeah, so we went ahead and did it for whatever the price was. He's like, and I'm never doing that job again for that price. That was insane. And he just goes on and on about how hard the job was, like on this specific car. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's awesome. Thanks for the update, I guess.
I guess it's like, especially because we're both computer people, and it's definitely one of those jobs where it's probably like most labor jobs, where if there's not actual proof of what you did, no one ever believes what you did. Like if I like, they're like, oh yeah, we had to dig around and we eventually figured out like this valve was broken. In your mind, it's like, did you take 5 minutes to do this because it was there all day? Or did this take you 5 hours because it was there all day and you're just calling me first, last, whatever? So I feel like they always have to have the backup of, yeah, we did A, B, C, D, E. E led to F and G. And just so you know, like now we are at, this is the cost.
Yeah, you got to have the justification for how you got here.
Because especially like when I used to work at Circuit City, when I did the computer shit, there were times where people would be like, oh, you did like, it was like, oh, set up office, do this, do clean up the computer, do a privacy scan, blah blah blah, and like get through all the things, and it takes me like 20 minutes because I was good at my job and it's simple repetitive shit. And then they look at you and they're like, it took you 20 minutes. And I'm like, correct. And you paid Circuit City $129. And they go, but it took you 20 minutes. And I said, correct, because I know what I'm doing and this is the way it works. Like, there's a weird gap of, like, if you're good at labor, you can do your shit quick. But then if you do your shit quick and charge someone a flat fee, I feel like some people get mad when they're like, but you didn't really do that much. And it's like, no, I did. But just because you visually see 5 minutes of my brain working doesn't mean it's not like 20 years of my brain knowing how to do this in 5 minutes kind of thing.
Yeah. It's the same thing that like makes a manager get mad when someone leaves 5 minutes early, even though they're like, 3 days ahead of schedule or whatever, right? Like it's that same like animal instinct in your brain of like, I paid for the full 8 hours. I'm going to get the full 8 hours. Yeah, it's hilarious. Toby, it is the Christmas season, and I learned something today that I want to share with you about.
That's actually
about
not about Santa Claus, and it's about if Jesus Christ was born on this Christmas day.
Well, it is about Santa Claus, but it's maybe not what you would expect. Today I learned, Toby, about the manna of Saint Nicholas. Are you familiar?
I am not. Let's go.
All right. So Saint Nicholas was a real person. He's the person who, the Santa Claus story is based on. Saint Nicholas is buried in Italy in a tomb. And I guess for like 1700 years, his bones have emitted a clear, sweet smelling liquid. And once a year, they go in and collect the liquid from the bones of Saint Nicholas, and they use it for like religious purposes. I watched a video, and it's these priests crawling in this hole, which I assume is where the bones are, and it's just his butt sticking out of the hole for a while. And then when he comes back out, he has a bottle of liquid that he has right under his nose, and he's just huffing that shit. And and then they pass it around, and everybody huffs it. And it's literally water that seeped out of the bones of Santa Claus.
How much do you think that costs? Because we could do like a GoFundMe and get some Santa water.
I don't know. Like, I mean, it's probably priceless, right? Like if they do it once a year and they get like half a jar of it, you're probably not like smuggling any of that out.
No, according to Interesting as Fuck on Reddit, liquid leaks is extracted every year before being diluted and sold to believers.
Oh, that's how they get it.
So you can buy Santa Claus juice.
I'm going to Google that because we need a bottle, I think. Santa juice. This is how to make the festive non-alcoholic holiday punch. I need to be more clear. I want Saint Nicholas manna.
So whatever the hell PicClick is, it seems like it's only $12.
See, I want it to cost at least like $200. I think
I see $100 one. If that makes you feel better.
It does. It does make me feel better. Because if it's if I'm getting authentic bone juice, I want it to feel like that is rare. I want it to have the price of something that is rare. Yeah, so that was crazy. The idea that we've just been draining Santa bones for 1700 years.
What do you think is actually in the dirt or whatever that smells sweet that people are bottling up?
I don't know what it is that would be sweet, but I did read that the probably scientific answer of what's happening is it's just condensation that's forming inside the hollow bones. So it's probably not anything, magical, unfortunately. Sorry, Santa. But yeah, I don't know why it would be sweet smelling.
Probably just like fungus and mildew and
yeah.
God knows what else.
Or when those freaking scammers crawl in that hole, they're spraying some perfume on it before they pull it out.
Hey, this smells like rum this year. That's awesome.
Yeah, weird. It's the year of what's I was gonna say Prime was the brand I was trying to come up with. It's the year of Prime, and it smells like Prime this year. That's crazy.
With the blue bottle, the good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. The good Prime. Smells like the good Prime. Toby, speaking of Santa, I've been thinking about Santa a lot this year.
Okay.
And I've decided everyone always talks about like, oh my gosh, he's got to visit like every house and every kid in a single night. And no, it's crazy. I don't think Santa's got that hard of a job. I've decided.
Keep going.
So, all right. So Santa, I think he's like one of those like old like white dudes who try to like talk up their job like they're really important, but then they couldn't actually save like a Word document as a PDF. I think that's Santa because think about it. He works 1 day a year. The rest of the freaking year, his whole job is to make a list. And then he's got 11 months to make this list. He only checks it twice. That's not very many times. You'd think you have 11 months, you're checking that thing more than twice. And then, Toby, if you listen to the song, he doesn't even decide who's naughty or nice. He says we're going to find out who's naughty or nice. Like he's not doing the work. He's like clearly outsourcing it to someone else. Some elf is the one doing the checking and he's just reading the list.
So in any media that has ever been shown, like you're getting a little older now. You had a birthday recently. I'm going to break it to you. In any media they've ever shown, Santa does fuck all at the North Pole. He says he makes the elves build everything.
Exactly.
And then he goes. So he's not even doing like half-ass work during the year. He does nothing. And, well, I mean, like to your checking the list twice thing, I would assume you wouldn't double check it right before you go out and give out presents.
Well, sure, you want to double check it, but you'd think like if that's the thing you're doing for 11 months, you'd be running through that list monthly at least. It'd be like, hey, who are the movers and the shakers? Who are the good kids? Who are the bad kids? Who's new on the list? What births have happened? Like at this point, are we even catching the babies? Like, are we getting the job done with this list making? It doesn't feel like it.
There's so many kids. There's so many kids. You only really can go through it once. I think is what it comes down to.
I think you're making excuses for the old man personally. But second of all, when you think about the actual night when he's delivering presents, right? Like he's just following the list and probably going, like one house to the next door to the next door. Really, if you think about it, the magic is doing all the work and he's just kind of along for the ride. Like he just has to carry the sack once in a while. And Rudolph is the one who's driving the sleigh. He's not even navigating. He's the one who's just along for the ride and throwing presents once in a while. And he only has to do that 1 day a year. If I could just check a list for 11 months and then do one night of hard labor a year, sign me up. That's great. That's the perfect job.
Are you turning against Santa Claus this year? Is this what you're telling me?
No, I'm just saying the reality of Santa Claus is the man has an easy, cushy job, but the talking point around Santa all this time has been it's so hard, he's got to do all this work, and it's just not true. That's all I'm saying. I just want the reality of Santa Claus to be known.
Do you know the effects of breaking the time-space continuum on the human body?
Well, apparently getting a white beard and being jolly as fuck. I don't know.
So you're not looking into the actual workload when he's doing like days worth of work in the span of 8 hours across each time zone. Like that toll on his well-being and psyche is immeasurable. So I'm offended you say he only works 1 day a year.
Well, you can be offended, but it's still true.
How is it?
I'm just saying. I just think we need to do some like hard looking at Santa and the amount of work that gets put in.
Let's absolutely take a deep dive into Santa Claus. That's what the people need right now.
Exactly. Really, if you think about it, we could probably just replace Santa with a large language model at this point. Just, ask ChatGPT who the good kids were and have it spit out the data.
Nothing you ever ask ChatGPT, I feel like is fundamentally right. So I think that's actually like the worst idea of all of them, I think. This is why Santa's still needed. You needed the human eyes to double check that list.
Speaking of ChatGPT, I saw online earlier, I guess Sam Altman, who's the CEO of OpenAI, who does ChatGPT, was on Fallon for some godforsaken reason. I don't know why that happened. But I guess Jimmy Fallon asked him, like, hey, do you use ChatGPT to like help raise your baby? And you would think he'd be like, no, but he said yes. And he was like, oh yeah, I Google, why is my baby doing this thing? Or no, I don't Google, I chat GPT, why is this baby doing this thing? It's like, I wouldn't have admitted that, I don't think. Like
that seems like a step worse than Googling what's wrong with you. Because like when you Google what's wrong with you, like the first two results, no matter what the problem is A, you have a headache, or B, you're dying of cancer.
Exactly.
And I feel like Chat GPT is just going to pull way too much infactual information and just give you worse results of like, not only do you have cancer, but there is an alien tumor growing in your forehead and it's going to explode in 2 hours once you get to the hospital.
ChatGPT would be like, "Yeah, I understand that having a baby is really hard, but you're doing a great job. Here's what we're gonna figure." Because it always has to fluff you when you talk to ChatGPT. He even said in this interview, he's like, "I don't know how people raised children without ChatGPT." I was like, you can't figure out how it happened before that. Before like 2 or 3 years ago, can't figure it out. Okay, I don't know, man.
I don't know either.
It's a weird world out there. Did you hear about last thing before we dive into Kamen Rider talk? It's vaguely related. You've heard about the like Warner Brother buyout stuff with the
Yeah,
now Netflix and Paramount.
I told you about the Warner Brothers stuff.
Yeah, that was my way to bring it up on the show so we could talk about it together.
And you
Like,
should have
hey,
said, remember, you should have said, remember when you told me.
Yeah, but I was trying to. It was doing the illusion for the cameras that we hadn't talked about it before.
Okay, go
But
on.
you've ruined it. You've ruined it. So I don't even know if I want to talk about it now.
Okay, I'll give you a second, then you will. I know what you're gonna do.
Okay, so anyway, Paramount, the Paramount side of this deal, I think is the funny part. I just want to talk about that part for just a second. So Netflix had put in the bid to buy this huge, like, multi-billion dollar, $100 billion whatever bid, and then Paramount comes back and like one ups them. That goes from like 90 billion to 107 billion or whatever. And I was like, how does Paramount have this much money? Because they're Paramount. Turns out Paramount is worth like, I don't know, 15 billion, like something really small. But they have like formed the essentially the axis of evil to come together and pool their money to place this bid. So it is Paramount, who is the CEO of Paramount is David Ellison. His father is basically a big chunk of the bankroll, and his dad is like, trying to be the next like Warren Buffett essentially. So he got daddy's money. And he got a bunch of Saudi royal money as well. And he got Jared Kushner money. All those came together to attempt to buy Warner Brothers, which is just, the more you think about that, the funnier that concept gets. Like, those people together deciding to be like, I think we should own Batman,
They should. Everyone should own everything, or one person should own everything, and then the problems are solved.
Well, those are very different things that you just described.
No, it's about the same.
One person owns everything, everyone owns everything. Yeah, those are, might as well just, it's a toss up. Yeah.
Yeah, you meet somewhere in the middle, and then people own stuff and people don't.
One thing we do all own is Kamen Rider. It belongs to the people, Toby. I thought you'd have something to say there. I guess not. We're going to talk.
I was going to let you keep going.
I threw you off course. We're going to talk today about Kamen Rider Zeztz episode 13. This is the follow-up to the meteor strike that started off last episode. And this was a fun one. I enjoyed this episode because we get some juicy details about some of the characters here. So, Toby, the episode opens and Nox and Baku are having a confrontation. Nox is like kind of manhandling Baku here. He's like knocking capsims out of him and destroying them, and they're, the little like whatever nightmares inside of them are going away. Baku dehensions, and Nox is sort of basically being like, "Yeah, you don't deserve this."
I was shocked that we killed the capsims already.
Yeah,
like, after
me too.
Getting so many so fast, we basically just like full team wiped all of the collectible toys, and it was way less dramatic than like when Hopper died in that first season, and when they painted him white, or that second season, and like that moment, like out of nowhere, I know we lost one last week, and I thought that was going to be a big deal of like, hey, you actually like lost one of your capsims. This is actually a game changer kind of thing. And then the first like 2 minutes of this episode, Nox just like murders all of them out of nowhere and just has nothing.
Yeah, after living through Gotchard, I appreciate that this season we are not personifying the gimmick items. Like, it worked for Gotchard, and I liked that as a story beat, but I am really glad we're not doing that again because like I don't want to have to like grow an attachment to a specific capsum. That's not, it's my favorite animated GIF.
Well, yeah, like,
It's
and even more so with the capsums, like the capsums themselves aren't really even like the thing. They changed his cut, like they changed his suit color, and he gets different tools and stuff. But it's not really the vibe of like, hey, there's some sort of humanity in this. It's just, hey, this is how I switch my suit color and I get a weapon. But besides that, like it could be anything. He could be putting like Nintendo DS into his chest with the same appeal
yeah,
or vibe.
absolutely. And like I mean the fact that they are coming from a capsule machine, like their whole vibe is that they are replenishable, right? Like
Yeah,
the
they're
you
worth
know
a quarter, and you throw it away when you don't get the one you want.
exactly. But yeah, I love anytime the gimmick items get taken away from our hero or get destroyed or something. I think it's cool, and I think it's cool here too, especially when Nox just is like, no, screw you and screw all these things. You don't get them anymore. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah,
That's always fun drama.
Nox really hates capsums and being a common rider or working for the big code kind of deal.
He does, yeah. I think that that's a fun angle for him. That like clearly he's not evil. He's not against Baku even. He's just sort of like really against code. We find that out really this episode.
Yeah, like
Um,
his main statement or like the main vibe is really like the dumb cliched quote whatever where it's like I don't dislike you, I just dislike what you represent, or like that kind of vibe of thing. Like I think Baku is not even in Nox's mental line of sight kind of deal. He just all Nox sees is a code agent, and he's like, I fucking hate all you so much. And that's all it really is. Like, it's not like
yeah.
a Baku problem. It's just you're a common writer kind of problem.
He also seems like especially insulted that Baku is so out of touch with like what code is doing. Like it's sort of like you're out here like parading around like everything and you're a hero, but like you don't know shit. It's kind of the vibe that Nox gives off. Uh, Interrupting this fight though is the meteor strike that takes out the space center and like a very cool looking piece of destruction. Like that building gets demolished, and I think the CG actually looks pretty good here.
It made it look like the moon just on the
Yeah,
ground.
that's true. Yeah. Baku kind of like shields Nem to protect her as the explosion happens. And yeah, pretty quickly after that, we wake up the next morning. And Baku is, he's like feeling down in the dumps, I guess, is really what this is. He starts to question his own hero nature. He's kind of questioning what he's doing, why he's doing it. And, feels like that he's not up to snuff, I guess. And the first thing that he does is he goes to the command closet and he kind of gets like confronted by Fujimi. And Fujimi's kind of telling him like, "Hey, you're the dude. You got to stop this." And Baku hasn't stopped it yet, so they get into a bit of an argument. And Baku kind of tells him like, "None of this would be happening if it wasn't for your partner." And then that's when things really, really escalate.
And yeah, and it's really just like an adult berating a child. Like at one point, Baku's like, I'm just a citizen or a civilian. I don't know what you want from me." And like, Mulder's parting shot is, "You're right. You are just a civilian. I shouldn't have talked to you." And just kind of like saunters out, like all pissy and ragey.
Yeah.
And when you take it vaguely out of the sphere of like the actual show universe, it's like this adult is screaming at a child because the child couldn't solve a police case. And the cop being like, "Well, fuck you. You're just a dumb kid. I shouldn't have asked you." But you still asked him in the first place and relied on him for the past like month or two now.
Yeah, I relied on him as like the only answer. Like they were just sitting around not doing anything, waiting for Baku to solve it before this moment. And it's like, yeah, you can't get mad at him. He's the only one who's actually putting in any work here. Um, I liked two things about this scene a whole lot. One, just in a funny sense, when he storms out, I like that he takes his sign. When they moved in, they brought the sign. I like that he grabs the sign on the way out as like a final sort of like, fuck you, we're done here. And I really liked that he attempted to shake Baku's hand to like, finish off their business relationship. I thought that was a very cold moment. I like that happened.
And even like the weird mellow calm forced handshake, because he grabs Baku's hand when Baku won't shake his hand because he's so depressed and miserable about fucking up, and like he like forces him to shake it, but it's not like an aggressive like ha 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 funny handshake thing. It's just like this weird thing where he grabs like Baku's dead fish hand and just like shakes it and just walks out.
Yeah, the whole thing is like Fujimi is so aggressive here, and we're used to seeing Baku being the one who's like the cool in charge guy in the dreams. So it's interesting with Fujimi being like so the dominant force in this scene. Fujimi and Nazca, are gonna go off and investigate on their own now that they've parted ways with Baku. Meanwhile, Baku is back at the closet and he's talking to Zero. And Zero's got some harsh words for him. Zero says he's not much of an agent, which feels very cutting.
Zero's basically a dick.
He is.
And I feel like it finalizes towards the end as well, where like no matter what he like says or does at this point, I feel like Zero has confirmed like business before anything else, and just none of it matters. So by the end, I don't think Nox is as horrible as his character arc has been as like the villain thing. It just seems like he really fucking hates Zero, and he's like, "You're a piece of shit," and this is where my problem starts, kind of deal.
Yeah, and like from what we know so far, like he seems justified, right? Like at the end we find out that like he's especially mad about Zero putting the agents' lives at risk or like sacrificing them for the greater good. And it's like, yeah, I mean that's what's happening here, right? Like that's what he would wanted to do. And yeah, that's not necessarily what like a hero does. So yeah, I think it's one of those awesome moments where like the villain is actually completely justified and is in the right.
Yeah, and like again to that point, it almost, I feel like this time or this episode really puts him right on that cusp of like he's not actually the villain. He's more just like a shunned hero.
Yeah, for sure. And like they do a good job in this scene because like Zero is trying to present this as a pep talk kind of, but like they have it come across as mean, which I think is the correct like it's the correct read here for what they're trying to do in the episode. But like it is interesting that like he's kind of trying to motivate Baku because he needs him to go on, but like he can't help but be like extra hurtful about it almost. Baku goes to see the young boy who wants to be an astronaut. They meet in the park, and the boy wants to thank Baku for what he said to him about basically chasing his dreams. It's made the boy want to keep loving space even more, and he asks what Baku's dream is. Baku tells him about his love for spy movies and how he wants to be a secret agent, but it's not going to work out basically. And the boy gives him a pep talk and it's like, hey, as long as it's something you love, keep working at it. It'll work out. So he gets kind of bolstered by the words of the young boy.
Yeah, they did a fantastic job of making, like in Gav too, the little boy that the hero befriended was kind of like an anchor mini piece of the story. And for like Baku doing the most mopey acting ever, as soon as he talked to that little kid and the kid was like, yeah, even when life sucks, I have a dream. And as long as you dream you're the best, you can be the best. And then Baku's just like mentally recharged and he's like, oh, I feel better now. Thanks a lot, dude.
Yeah, I got it all figured out. I got my depression completely solved. No issues here anymore.
Yeah. He wasn't that sad in the first place.
Just a little mopey, really. Baku walks the kid home, and along the way we find out that the kid's dad got sick. They had to close their restaurant because of it. So the reason for the nightmare starts to kind of like form shape here. Then Baku runs into his sister. They walk home together, and Baku, now that he has found his resolve because of the conversation with the boy, tells his sister he's going to work hard and he's going to, be a good brother to her, and
good at his job.
And good at his job. Yep. And the sister, of course, now knows that her brother is the Kamen Rider, or at least that Zero's there and he's going on missions. So the sister tells him to not put himself in danger, which I think is a cool thing for her to, for her to say there. I was like, I know what you're up to, so just be careful, please. I love the current progress for that character. I like that she is finding things out and getting involved in this world, and Baku doesn't know yet. I think that that's a cool angle so far.
Yeah, and even the fact that, like, obviously, I think we handled most of the main piece of it now, but we're definitely just getting trickle-fed whatever their actual conversation was. But it feels like it's all you actually need for it to work so far. Like, the trickle feeding is working perfect for, oh, she said this one thing because Zero said this one thing. And you actually, like, don't need the whole conversation yet. You just need that one piece of, like, oh, well, this is what Zero told her in this sentence. And that's why she made the comment of, like, yeah, just don't get yourself killed, please.
Yeah.
And then, like, there's, like, the way that they're doing, just I think it just works perfectly for the slow build of what their whole conversation was, how much she knows versus the doesn't know still kind of deal.
Yep. Yeah, I like that. I like how they're doling that information out slowly. Yeah. Baku gets home and goes to sleep, gets back in the dream world. He and Nem head over to the boys' restaurant because now the current theory is that Baku thinks that the boy gave up on the dreams, so to not, like, cause extra trouble for his parents, basically. And then the nightmare version of that is that the world is going to get wiped out, which also will wipe out the astronaut dream at the same time. So he's using space to end humanity in his nightmare. They find the doors inside the restaurant, and he peers through the keyhole, as we've seen before. And we find out that the nightmare this time around is the meteor itself that is heading towards Earth. And then we get to see the meteor with, like, a face and arms, and it's pretty hilarious looking, to be honest.
I both approve that the meteor, again, is the problem. Like, we made the joke about Majora's Mask and stuff, which I think is hilarious. But, like, on the opposite of that, this is two monsters now out of only a small handful that are literally just, like, weird, oversized structures. Like, we had the pyramid that they lived, we're inside the pyramid, but the pyramid is also actually a thing. And now we have, like, a creepy moon meteor that's actually the boss. And I think it's fun to have some of these large objects. I just don't want them to not know what else to do and make everything just the large objects.
Yeah. We will learn the connection between those two monsters when we get to the email section today, because Shade wrote in with some further explanation. But it's good that you pointed those two out. But yeah, I don't think that that'll be every monster, but it is funny that it's happened twice now, where it's like, oh no, it's the giant thing that's actually the bad guy. I appreciate how silly it looked, because and I think that the prison monster was kind of equally as, like, not silly, but, like, just over the top, right? Like, ridiculous looking, huge thing, huge, like, CG beast just, like, hurtling through space is funny here. Baku heads to the command closet, and as a further test of his resolve now and his mettle, he basically is no longer affected by Nock's words, and he's able to get a capsum out of the machine. And Zero is like, that's what an agent is, which, after his mean comments earlier, it's like, shut up, man.
Like I said, he's just a dick.
Yeah, leave our boy alone. He's doing fine, okay? This new capsum, we find out what it is pretty quickly here, because Baku goes to take on the nightmare, and it is a gravity capsum. So he is purple, and he has hands that are, I don't even know how to describe them. They, like, come to a round circle. They almost look like something that would conduct electricity.
So I think they look like when you go to like a space observatory and they open the little dome to put the telescope out.
Oh, that might be.
I feel like they open like that. So that's the best I can come up with for what that is.
Yeah, that might be exactly what they're trying to go for there. I think that these types of forms where the hands are covered or they give you like big Hulk hand looking attachments onto your hands are very hit or miss for me. Like some of them I think look cool and some of them look utterly ridiculous. And this one, it surprised me because I think it looks cool. When I first saw the still images, I was like, ooh, I don't know if I like this. But in practice, with the editing and the way that they're doing the choreography, I think it ends up looking pretty awesome. How about you? Are you a fan of hand attachments or not?
Until I figured out what the actual dome hands were possibly, I wasn't sure about it because I thought like his hands were just completely boxed, like covered, like full domed. And I was gonna say it's dumb that he has no hands. And then when I realized his hands stick out a little, I guess it's a little bit better. But I guess in general, because he is so like hyper specific to what his battle of the week is, like I don't think it's like that big of a deal because he had to have gravity hands.
He did. He needed to have gravity hands. Yeah. He and Nox battle a little bit more. Nox gets to, say some prophetic things to him again. They talk about dreams coming true. Baku, of course, has some wonderful things to say about keeping dreams alive, and every person has the power, and so on and so forth. And eventually, Nox kind of just like gives up and says, like, "Hey, fine, you can go figure out how horrible this is yourself. Go ahead." And Baku, we really get to see, I guess, a ramping up in power because Baku, using this new capsum, goes into space and basically does like a huge finisher, breaking up the meteor that is heading for Earth.
Drop kicks it right through its mouth.
Yep, as one does, and it creates a black hole, and we get to see the ending of this, this fight. Baku gets sucked into the black hole, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah, like there's a lot of like full. I wonder if this is actually like the end of the first arc, and we're just not that smart because it feels like a lot of like full story wipe things. Like Nox is maybe not the bad guy. We lost all the capsums. Our hero was eaten into a hole.
Yeah.
His sister at least knows that he's superhero-esque. So when he's stuck in his little black hole, she seems scared about it, but not like full blown like panic attack again, like when she thought he was dead last time. So it's like I feel like a lot of the first chunk of the story ended today, kind of deal.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of like you said, like big things happening, big shakeups in the story, and then like a near death experience for our hero. So yeah, like very well could be the good dividing point of like end of Act 1 type stuff. I want to talk more about the black hole in a second, but the other thing that happens here at the end, as we touched on before, is that Nox and Zero have a confrontation, and the big thing that we find out there is we get confirmation that Nox is a former agent of code. Specifically, he's number 4, where Baku is number 7. And they have that conversation about how Zero says the mission was a success because humanity is saved. And then, of course, Nox takes offense that Zero is sacrificing agents to achieve his goals. And it goes as far as to say that the code organization is rotten to its core.
Yeah, and then so like again, and then when you go back and think about the past 2 episodes, like not so much Nox is vague. You don't know what nightmares are in the capsums. But like Nox murdering all the capsums is him trying to stop Baku from being an agent. So now you have to say to yourself, like he could have killed him. He barely kicked his ass, really.
Yeah.
But Nox just wanted to do like the forced form of we're gonna do some whatever the therapy thing is, where like you force to put yourself in the situation. I can't think of the name of it right now.
Exposure therapy.
That one. He's basically doing like Kamen Rider exposure therapy of like, look, I'm going to beat your ass and I'm going to show you how shitty this all is. because the only way I can tell the only way you're gonna learn is if you figure this out by yourself. But like he obviously Nox could have murdered him 5 times over. He killed all the Capsums, and none of it was directed to kill Baku. It was just to make him stop being Zeztz, basically.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, he clearly has shown that he is like stronger and more tactical in these fights, but he only has targeted the Capsums. Like the first kind of battle that they had, he wanted to show Baku that there were the nightmares inside the Capsums. Like that was his main goal there. And then this time, clearly, it was like, I'm going to destroy these Capsums now, and destroy the nightmares inside of them. So yeah, it all is in service of like, making it so Baku can't henshin, or at least is severely limited if he does.
Yeah.
Which again is a cool angle. I really really like what they've done with Nox. I don't think that this will happen, but with the black hole and with Baku going into the black hole, I think it'd be really cool, especially if this is sort of like end of Act 1 type feeling. It'd be so cool if for like a couple episodes we have Baku by himself in some other dimension, like figuring out how to get back. Like if we took a little like side journey, I think that'd be so cool. Like we could do cutaways to back, like his sister's still worried about him. Zero doesn't know where he is, but then like the main focus for maybe like 2 episodes would be like, what weird stuff is different about this new dimension, and how do I get back? How do I get back through a black hole, or how do I cause a black hole so I can go through, or something like that. I don't think that's what's going to happen, but that's how I would write this story.
If anything else, he just rips gravity apart and goes back through the hole, I guess. So I feel like he has his out already, but we'll see.
That's true. Yeah, he does have it. There's a Captain America series that's kind of like that, where Captain America gets transported to another dimension, like a very alien dimension, and then like ends up living there for like decades and raising a kid, and then of course eventually like makes it back to the regular universe. But like that idea of a hero, plucked out of his time and dropped somewhere else is interesting. But yeah, so we, like we talked about, have the details, I guess, are starting to align about Nox and about Zero. How evil do you think Zero is? Do you think that he is generally trying to do the right thing, but is willing to use people for it? Or do you think that he's like full on evil and all of the good stuff is a lie?
So I'm going to say, because he's a stupid computer bike, he just lacks, much like GPT and AI stuff. I think he just lacks the human logicking of situations. So like Nox is probably right. Like he just looks as humans as the vessels to use the Capsums and save the world. But like realistically, like the chef episodes, Baku is like, I want to help the human, and Zero is like, but you have to do the mission, or the protect the national secret one. So I guess it's like all part of the same giant arc. But like, I don't think Zero is being evil. I think Zero is just a computer that doesn't know how to process the difference. Because realistically, like Zero's whole thing, like using the black hole ending as the direct situation, like Zero's whole thing was, I don't care that Baku's gone. I needed a hero who could destroy the meteor that's about to kill Earth. So like he did it, like Zero's going for the right result overall, just using the wrong methods to get there. Like he's like not a good protagonist, but the ones that are like the weird anti-protagonists where their heart's in the right place, they just don't have the proper logic to solve the problem the right way, kind of deal.
Yeah, he's like one of those the ends justify the means type people.
Yeah, basically.
Like, yeah, like, the goal is good. It's just like, who are you going to steamroll to get there? Yeah. Yeah, I think I agree. I think that's probably what will be the case. And then, which is cool because it's like shades of gray, right? Like Nox is right, but also Zero's kind of right too. Like we can't just have the world end. We can't have humanity end because of this nightmare. We have to do something. Also makes a lot of sense. So yeah, I like that as the setup. Speaking of the origins of Zero. Over in our Discord, which if you sign up for our Patreon at patreon.com/the comment writers, you get access to this Discord. We have a channel over there called Episode Questions, and Kieran poses a question that I had completely forgotten about. But Kieran says, did either of you remember that Baku got pulled into the Zeztz room in the first episode by a glowing person? Because I did not. Any guesses who they may be and if we'll ever see them again? And then he includes a screenshot where, yeah, very clearly it's glowing hands grabbing Baku to pull him into the closet. I had no memory of this happening. It's been a long time since episode 1.
I didn't remember it, so obviously I'm going to say it's more than likely Baku's dad, because they like doing father stories where I never actually pay off the parents, and then we go from there.
Everyone's angry the whole time. Yeah, exactly. I wonder if it won't be like the actual human form of Zero or something, some swerve like that. Obviously, we've seen like silhouettes and stuff before, so it could be that, or more likely they'll just never mention it again, since they haven't done any hinting towards it in the past 13 episodes. Maybe they'll just be like, yeah, who cares? It's fine.
Like at best, they will make it some sort of like, because like glowing gold and like starting the thing, like some sort of like God figure, but God in the sense of just like a higher pro happy power, where it could be like, maybe it's Baku's mom, maybe it's Baku's dad, maybe it's Agent 2, who is like, hey, we need you, you're the good person that can fix how shitty Zero is, blah blah blah. So if it ever comes back up again, I think it's going to be like an angel helper type person, and not like a weird enemy type person. Like, I don't think it was Zero human form. I would think it's like a happy, better thing. But no, if we haven't talked about it yet, the show, and we're this far in, and it hasn't even been like remotely addressed. I don't remember anybody else glowing gold or any other gold moments at all. So I'm going to assume that it's just never going to be talked about again.
Yeah, because like all the other stuff that they kind of have brought back up, like they do a good job of keeping things sort of in your consciousness, right? Like they've constantly hinted at the origin of Nox along the way to keep that at the forefront of your mind. The same with like the sister sort of figuring out who he is. Like they keep making sure that like every episode there's like something about that going on. So yeah, if this is a thing that we're going to find out later, they are really downplaying it for a long time. All right. So yeah, again, that question comes in courtesy of the Discord. And again, if you want access to that, it's patreon.com/the comment writers. For $3 a month, we've got a whole bunch of bonus content. You can watch some other tokusatsu shows with us. Right now we're watching, let's see, we're watching Dawn Brothers, we're watching Gozyuger, watching a couple Sentai shows. In the past, we've watched X-Aid, we've watched Black Sun. So if you sign up now, you get access to all that stuff, and you can have quite the binge-worthy weekend or week. And if you're not sure you want to sign up quite yet, you can follow for free, and you get access to the first 3 episodes of everything we've done. So still plenty to watch there, even for free. So again, patreon.com/the comment writers. Toby, there's one more way that people can communicate with us, and that is via email. The email address is cast@commonwritersucks.com. Once again, that is cast@commonwritersucks.com. We've got a couple emails this week, and the first comes in from Jordan. Jordan says, well, it's official. Nox is in fact a former agent. Code number 4 to be exact. I wonder if we'll ever learn about the other numbers, maybe in the future inside content. I think that's interesting. You don't want that? No? You don't want like a TTFC special that's like, it's agent number 5 and what did they do?
No, because it doesn't go anywhere.
Sure.
Like, so let's say that's a timeline and a real thing that's going to happen. So the whole story with Agent 5 is going to be, I was an agent and then presumably died, because that seems like that's what we do.
Yep. Totally.
Or to use my favorite reference point of recent media, there was an episode of Stranger Things in season 3 where it was a complete side story for Elle, and she meets other people with magic powers, and then eventually like they all just disappear. Like they just like end that whole arc, and she leaves them and never comes back up again. And I like that's I don't think that shit's necessary because like what so like Nox is 4. So obviously Nox at some point dies. So like we'll use 5. Like what could they possibly do in an hour to build an arc for number 5 that would make you care about what number 5 did for the world?
Yeah, I didn't say it'd be good. I just see
Well,
this
I know.
happening. Yeah.
I hope not, because that's a waste. That's a waste of an hour for anybody.
Yeah.
There's no character building that I feel like that you could make it interesting enough to be like, oh, this happens between when Nox was there and then the new season. But that's just me.
You know, I hear what you're saying, and I completely agree. But my counterpoint is this is what like a giant chunk of Star Wars is. Like they told the Star Wars movies, and then a lot of Star Wars media is just filling in tiny gaps where you know what happens and you know all the characters die, and like ultimately in the larger storyline there's like kind of no reason for it to exist. Like that's kind of how a lot of Star Wars has been created over the years.
It took like 7.5 hours to build that Anakin was a whiny shit kid. Or not Anakin, Obi-Wan. Or
He
one of
was
them.
too. Anakin was.
Which one hates sand? Anakin, right?
Anakin, yeah.
Yeah. Like that was at least 7 hours of horse shit. I'm saying if you're compressing it into a V Cinema 48-minute banger,
Gotcha.
I feel like nothing good is happening with this.
That's fair.
Now, if they want to MCU it, and next season is Kamen Rider, blah blah blah, and that starts with like back to code, and oh, you're Agent Number 5, then sure, like give me a whole season of a different character. I guess that works. But I don't think the high speed version works.
How do you feel about the what if version side stories that they do? Like they just announced the one where like what if Ram never left the stomach company and he was a bad guy the whole time? Are those equally as pointless for you?
I don't know, because at least we saw Ram for 50 times 20. What's that?
Yeah, that's true.
1,000
It's actually
minutes?
a character that we know. It I have a hard time, and this is I think just my brain, but when I know something is like not canon or like, you know, like an alternate reality, alternate telling, it's hard to care. It's like, well, it didn't really happen. It's like, yeah, none of this really happened, idiot. It's all made up. So I don't know why I have that hang up, but I definitely do. Jordan goes on and says, next I want to talk about the capsums. I'm going to be referring to the nightmares inside, collectively the Zeztz nightmares, and the one Nox destroyed as the barrier nightmare. If Code has been using nightmares to power the capsums, then the question I have is, are these nightmares the same as the ones we've been fighting this entire time, or does Code know the method by which nightmares spawn and is using it to artificially create the Zeztz nightmares? What do you two think? Any ideas?
That's a good idea.
It feels like they are doing a bit of a like cultivation thing, right? It feels like they're like, we grew these. These are farm to table nightmares. It feels more like that and less like Pokemon to me for some reason.
I would agree with that. So then to wrap it back around, then I wonder if you catch the little pink butterflies in the capsums, they become capsums.
Ooh, maybe.
Because then that would make sense of why Nox was trying to harvest them, because then you can't make more capsums.
I think another, like, they come out looking like Zeztz, which is the thing that always it continues to confuse me. Like, if they looked like monsters, that'd make more sense. But the fact that it came out and it looked like a fuzzy version of Zeztz is like, I really want a good explanation for that. And I don't know yet if they're going to have it, but I hope that they come up with a reasonable explanation for it.
It's going to be old Kamen Riders, and not like, hey, go buy the Kuga toy. It's going to be like whatever the green one was, the mystery one, or riddle, or whatever that weird one was recently. It's going to be like that, where they're going to be like, oh yeah, whenever you die Kamen Ridering, we just put you in a capsule for the next guy.
So
I feel like that should be more than 7
5
then.
through. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, we should have bumped that number up a lot then if we're gonna do that.
Yeah,
I
I think my best real guess is the butterflies go in the capsums, and then they turn into. Then there's still the nightmares, and they're trapped in the capsums. But then you get to use their powers, which would make sense with the Mega Man thing.
yeah. I think that we can wrap in my alternate dimension storyline into this, where the things inside the capsums are Zetz's from different dimensions that they've plucked in, and be like, yes, you will come here and you will come here, and it's like a weird, time continuum thing that they're doing and the code's doing, and that they're wrecking all other dimensions except for this one. But we shall see. That's a good question, Jordan. Thanks very much for the email.
I feel like Jordan works for Kamen Rider.
You think so?
Because most of Jordan's emails this year so far have been very on point with very specific, well worded, deep thoughts about the show that I feel like are pretty legit. So this feels like the wink wink hinty nudge. Hey, maybe these idiots will catch up, and I can drop information to them because we're not going to do anything important with it.
Yeah, I mean, like he needs to make some more mistakes then, because he's getting too good. We're gonna be on to his whole thing.
He's the Mets fan of Kamen Rider.
He is, but much like Mets fan, he's gotta plant some incorrect seeds once in a while, so we're not that on his case, so it's not obvious.
And we're not going to explain that one.
Now go look it up.
That was just a me and Josh joke. Josh got it immediately.
If you want to be in on it, you got to Google it, because we're not going to get into it. Yeah. Toby, our next email comes in from our friend Shade. Shade, of course, has some info for us from the case file of Kamen Rider Zeztz episode 13. We get some fun behind the scenes photos first up. Apparently Fujimi carried the sign outside and he's like posing and they're laughing. It's very cute. The blog talks about how these two episodes, these past two episodes, highlight the link between the dreams we have at night and the dreams we have for the future. In many countries, these two types of dreams are often expressed using the same word, which originally meant dreams we had while sleeping, but gradually came to mean hopes for the future. Seiya, a sixth grader, was seeing the harshness of reality in many ways, and it was difficult for him to hold on to his dream of becoming an astronaut. Still, holding on to dreams is a precious thing, and perhaps having dreams is a talent and not something to be taken for granted. Yeah, I think that's a good point, as the focal point of these episodes is the both types of dreams. And, Seiya has his astronaut dream and like Baku's dream of becoming an agent, and that dream faltering and them having to fix that in this episode. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. The blog goes on to say, in this episode, the small twist was that the meteor itself was the nightmare, as we talked about earlier. Coincidentally, director Yamaguchi also worked on episodes 6 and 7, the ones that featured the prison nightmare with the same twist. There it is. So yes, director Yamaguchi directed both episodes with the meteor and with the prison nightmare. This time, director Yamaguchi was also the voice actor for the meteor nightmare. So apparently, Yamaguchi's just really into the giant ass nightmares.
Yeah, he's doing weird wish fulfillment somehow.
He wants the giant meteor to step on him, I think, is what it is. Shade says, this time we get the debut of Kamen Rider Zezt's Paradigm Gravity. With this, all the capsums in the initial 4 categories have been unlocked. Funny story regarding this forum, the Kamen Rider arcade game, Ganba Legends, recently made a trailer for the release of their Zeztz cards. And the trailer features Zeztz fighting the final boss of Kamen Rider Build, whose whole thing is that he makes black holes. Everyone was comparing Zeztz to this meme because of how completely outclassed he was. So the meme is a bunch of heroes rushing at Thanos to fight him, including Daredevil. And it says, yeah, whoop his ass, Daredevil. Because, yeah, Daredevil with no real superpowers to speak of is going to be no match for someone at a cosmic level like Thanos. So that's what people were joking about Zeztz. But then the flip side now is, he has a gravity form. He can make black holes of his own. He can actually hold his own against this Kamen Rider boss now. Then Shade shares some more behind the scenes photos with us, and then gets to some more news. Shade says we have some update on Geetz's appearance on Death Battle, which Shade has told us about in the past. More specifically, who he will be fighting. So the options, it looks like, were Sephiroth, Nero from Fate, Liu Kang from Mortal Kombat, and Bayonetta from Bayonetta. The people have voted, and it looks like Geetz will be fighting Nero from Fate, which we talked about last time. Is just a girl in a dress. I don't know what she does in Fate, but she's just a pretty girl in a dress. From what I know, all these guys scale relatively close to Geetz with godlike powers and all. And then in parentheses, Shade says, Josh, you might have to catch up on Mortal Kombat lore. Because last time I think I talked about Liu Kang is just a regular dude, so he didn't quite stack up to Geetz. But no, turns out I had to Google it. Liu Kang has become a god now in recent Mortal Kombat games. He I think holds like he's like the god of fire. He's the god of fire, and he watches over all of Earthrealm now in the current games, which is insane.
So he replaced Raiden.
Yes,
he's
exactly.
Fire instead of electricity, lightning, whatever.
Exactly. That's 100% what they did. Toby, I used to be with it, and then they changed what it was. And apparently Liu Kang is a god now.
I was trying to find things that Nero from Fate does, like attacks, whatever, weapons, blah, blah, blah. I'm scrolling through her wiki on fandom quickly, and I can't find any like powers or attack things, but there is a Flash game where she is basically naked and you make sure that she doesn't get a fever. So that seems like a power or a reverse power or something.
How do you keep her from getting a fever?
I don't know.
Like, what are you giving her medicine or like
I don't know. I'm not clicking more links. I don't want to see the nice anime lady naked or whatever the hell's going on here.
I feel like you can't bring up sick naked anime ladies and then not give me more information.
We'll parking lot that one.
All right, we're gonna have to explore this offline. We'll table.
Wait, hold on. Abilities. She's a megalomaniacal emperor who viewed herself as a rival to Hercules. She's, I guess, extremely strong. She can snap people in half. At one point, she was an ancient pro wrestler. She has some sort of magic, maybe. So I think she's just tough and has a crazy sword.
I mean, that's cool. What? It's just she's from. I don't even know what Fate is. Oh, it's just an anime. Fate Stay Night. Okay, got it.
Well, it's like there's a bunch of them. Like there's Fate / Exelia or something like that. Like Fate is the overarching. Like Fate is like Persona, and there's games in the Fate verse.
Got it. Yeah, I love the fact that there are like entire series and fandoms that I just don't even know exist. And they're like relatively adjacent to things that I already like, right? Like this is like, you know, a visual novel anime series, not that different from stuff I'm already into, but like it's this whole deep well of some stuff I don't even know about. Which is cool. So yeah, we'll have to see how Geetz fares against Nero, but hopefully he kicks her ass, you know?
Yeah, let's keep our Kamen Rider boy going strong.
Shade says, next up, we have news of an upcoming independent tokusatsu property in Japan called Beat Runners. I saw the images from this online the other day, and I was pretty intrigued. I think they look pretty cool. The project is being described as J-pop cross tokusatsu. The show will be directed by famous director Koichi Sakamoto and will feature only voice actors and no live human cast. It's interesting for sure. Kind of reminds me of K-pop Demon Hunters, which they could possibly have taken some inspiration from. That would be cool if they made a K-pop Demon Hunters-esque show.
That's exactly what it sounds like. So
yeah, it 100% does. I hope. Excuse me. I hope that's the case, and I hope it gets really popular because, you know, K-pop Demon Hunters is awesome and spreads like cool K-pop music to people who otherwise probably wouldn't have heard it. Same thing could be true here for both J-pop and toku. So that might be nice. But yeah, I think right now the suits look really cool. I like what they're kind of putting out image-wise about the show. So I'll keep an eye on it. Finally, Shade says this one's a bit off topic, but it's really cool, so I want you guys to know about this. In the recent crossover special Girls Remix, where female characters from previous Kamen Rider series join together to fight bad guys, they've been teasing a new exclusive Kamen Rider that will appear in the special, and we finally got our first look at Kamen Rider Eins. Eins stands for one in German. The actress who will portray this character is actually the daughter of Hiroshi Fujioka, the actor for the first Kamen Rider, which makes this the coolest case of nepotism I have ever seen. Yeah, we talked about this a bit on the Discord. I think that she looks awesome. Like, this is one of the coolest Kamen Rider designs that I've seen in the past couple years. And it's funny that it's like for a random special, because I think it's a really, really well designed suit. So yeah, I'm excited to see more about her. Then Shay says, finally, we have some more news about Gavan Infinity, which, of course, is the first show in the new Project Red series. A new teaser was released, and we got to see some silhouettes of 3 different Gavans. So there's, a Gavan in red, a Gavan in silver, and then a golden Gavan we see in this trailer. And it's like very quick cuts as the trailer is airing, so you don't get really a ton of look at any of them, but you can make out those 3 distinct figures. And we also get a look at the gun that Gavan will be using, and as people have pointed out online, and Shade points out here as well, it looks like the gun is a robot. It has feet, it looks like it transforms, so that's probably where we get our or at least one of our gimmick toys out of as a transforming gun. They also announced some news regarding who will be working on Gavan Infinity. Fukuzawa Hirofumi, the action director for the current Super Sentai Gozyuger, will be working on Gavan Infinity as the pilot, director, and action director. Shade says, if you asked me, he's a great choice. You want to talk about the Red, then he's your guy. He was the suit actor for almost every Red Ranger during the 2000s. If you've been keeping up with Gozyuger lately, he's the guy in the Deca Red suit that kicked Garyuda's ass, and better yet, he's also the guy who directed it. That's all we have about Project Red for now. The next reveal will be scheduled on Christmas, but producer Shinchiro Shirakura will be doing another interview for TTFC on the 14th. Awesome. Thanks for all the info, Shade, as always. And yeah, I think the more that I see about Gavan Infinity, the more excited I get about what they're doing. I think that hopefully it'll be cool and adventuresome, and we'll try some different things instead of just being, a different name for the same show. But yeah, how about you? Are you interested in what we're seeing so far with the Gavan stuff?
It seems visually it seems cool. Realistically, I'm pretty sure it's just going to be Sentai next year. Like the vibe will be the proper thing, and the people will have their show. As always, as long as we're not going full Marvel, that's all I ask.
Fair enough. All right. So once again, emails can be sent to cast@commonwritersucks.com. Once again, that is cast@commonwritersucks.com. And Toby, that brings us to a close. Why don't you tell the people where they can find you on the internet?
On Twitter, it's Life of Tobes, and on YouTube, it's Tobes Plays.
You can find me on Blue Sky at meek.lol. You can also find the show over on Blue Sky at commonwritersucks.com. We do hope you check out the Patreon if you like the show, or you can just get more of our nonsense. So once again, that is patreon.com/thecommentwriters. Send in those emails, cast@commonwritersucks.com, if you have things to say to us. And yeah, we do hope you make it back here next time to figure out what the heck happens to Baku now that he's been sucked into a black hole. But in the meantime, we hope you have a great week, everybody. Peace.